The furry fandom is an arts fandom. We make art, we share art, we gather around it. For the most part, we make all of our own content. We generally don't rely on outside influencers like Disney or DC to give us that nerd out fodder, though of course we are always hungry for the anthropomorphic content that they produce. Our arts extend well past just digital paintings and customized porn. Furries have our paws in all sorts of disciplines: costume, sculpture, literature, comics, poetry, and we've discussed most of these before right here on Culturally Effed. Today, we're going to talk about the music that furries make and some of my own suggestions to make furry-made music more appealing to the fandom at large. Tigers rapping about hugs and scritches is Culturally Effed. Presently, there are oodles of furries making all kinds of music in all genres you can think of: classical, pop, rap, punk, and a lot of electronic. And of course, everything in between. Enough furries are making music, but how many actually take the time to listen? If furries embrace their own music, who knows where a successful musician could find themselves in the mainstream? Imagine if we had a celebrity that was furry before they were famous, unlike current brony furry supporter Andrew WK, who announced his fuzziness well into his established career. It turns out we do. His name is Mick Collins, and I only learned about him recently from the hashtag Furry Black History Month. Also, shout out to Dogpatch Press for retweeting it. Move over, Andrew WK. He's been a musician and a furry since 1990 as a member of the Dirt Bombs, a soul surf punk sort of band, though this video is more about music made by members of the furry fandom who are marketing their music toward other members of the furry fandom. When I talk about furry music, I'm usually talking about music made by furries, not necessarily music or music videos about anthropomorphic animals. Culturally Effed already has a huge, super awesome long playlist of those right over here. I went to school for the music industry. I completed a one-year arts management program at a school called the Harris Institute, so I consider my opinion to be somewhat educated. Firstly, I want to get some obvious things out of the way that any good musician should already be doing. When you post music onto any website, even for Affinity, you need to include an image of some kind. Anything other than the blank default image. If you have the talent, make something yourself. If you have the funds, commission an artist to make an album cover. Even stock images or just you holding your guitar or whatever are way better than nothing. When you post it online, you also need to have a description. Talk about your inspiration or the process of recording, or just post the lyrics if your song has lyrics. Tag the crap out of it so that it's easy for people to find when they're looking for you. People are interested in the story behind the music, especially if the music is actually good. Now that's some general advice that any musician can use. Now we're going to talk a little more broadly about how the fandom itself can change and make it a better place for encouraging musical talent. Here are my 3 things to make furry music matter. Starting the list proper, number 3, we need more filters.
Welcome to the Technicast. Introducing your host, Technics Official.
And now it's time again for our Promising Musician segment. And this week's Promising Musician goes to Arrkay for their electronic remix of V Fighters.
There are currently only a handful of filters available for furry music, like the Fur Affinity page's Furry_Musicians, a couple of furry online radio stations, and a couple of podcasts. My good friend Potteroo used to run Fuzzy Notes podcast, which was excellently curated but had to stop so he could focus on his career. Each of these outlets have their own following with some overlap, and each are either one person or a very small team of people who take the time to dig through the piles of unlabeled, undescriptive music that's uploaded to sites like Fur Affinity. This provides an informed filter by having someone listen in and approve something for wider distribution. If the song is great, they'll make sure they'll get as many people to listen to it as they can. So make sure your music has a description. If it's not posted on a furry site, tag it as furry so curators can find it easier. I don't personally think there are enough of these filters. Maybe what we need is like a furry billboard chart. list of the most popular music of the month, or maybe even the quarter. I don't think it needs to be updated super often, but in short, more podcasts to broadcast all of this content that's being uploaded and no one's listening to it. I'm of the mind that if you build it, they will come when it comes to actually getting people to listen in. Number 2, live events. This seems to be the hardest thing for furries to wrap their heads around.
We were trying to come up with a song that we were going to play for this skit. So we wanted to do something along the lines of superheroes. So we first went up with Iron Man, because everyone loves Iron Man.
Many of the best musicians in the fandom do not play live. Either they treat it as a hobby, which is fine, or they're just too shy and inexperienced. Conventions would be the ideal place to start this, given the small initial audience and a much less pressure. A con space would be an ideal venue for a furry musician to get their feet wet performing, no matter what genre they play, or even the size of the audience in attendance. Whether playing for 5 or 500 people, your performance should really just be the same. All it takes is a little bit of rehearsal beforehand. There are lots of tricks one can do to improve their on-stage performance, but it really comes down to practice. If you're serious about music, you have to play live. If you are really stage shy, an easy trick is to wear a mask of some kind, but don't cover your mouth if you have to sing or speak to the audience. Another thing to try is to host a party and perform. Do it in your basement, your garage, your backyard. Call your friends over and ask them what they think. Maybe they have some great insight to improve your stage performance. And even consider going as far as playing your local bar or club. Get out there and expose people to your music. Find out if your online followers are concentrated in a certain city or area, and use that information to decide if you can travel to perform. I think conventions as a whole need to make this space more available. Open mics, musician circles, pre-dance concerts. It's up to these furry institutions to create this space for musical performance and to go beyond just a karaoke panel and the DJs at the dance. And finally, perhaps it's my bias, but the last thing I think furries need to embrace to make it in the fandom as musicians are, number 1, videos. I'm giving you a night call to tell you how I feel. Making a video for music is not that hard. Even uploading it onto YouTube with a looping GIF or a still image is still a start. You don't need a fursuit or animation skills to accomplish this. YouTube is a go-to destination for music these days for people of all ages. Acts can break on YouTube. Big companies find music to license through YouTube. Chances are your phone currently has a camera you can use, and there are free apps for basic video editing, and that's all you really need to get started. But if you have a fursuit or a friend with a fursuit, you probably want any excuse to jump into it and dance around in front of the camera. Not everyone can be Easy Wolf, but not everyone has to. Ideally, I'd love to see lots more cross-collaboration between musicians and video creators, but it's a bit hard to pull off and coordinate, so I understand. Do you remember Nyan Cat? Of course you do. That song was a hit because it had this simple 3-frame animation that's just loops. Not only that, but the song could loop, and that's how you get like 10-hour Nyan Cats. Lyric videos are great. Slideshow videos are super easy to put together. Composite videos like anime video collages over music. Record a live performance or rehearsal. Get a friend to help you, like I did. Ask around and pool the talent from your friends and your family. To talk more about how furries can and should be supporting better music made by furs, I'm turning the mic over to BlackLynk, a fellow furry YouTuber who also makes music.
What is up, people? It is your boy BlackLynk, and over on my channel, I pose the question, are furry musicians doomed? Click the link in the description, and I'll see you there.
Make sure to check out the rest of BlackLynk's talk over on his channel, and give him a subscription while you're there. If you're going to Fernal Equinox 2017 this March, the Culturally Eft team will be there with a couple of panels. The theme is Rock the Fandom. So this video is dedicated to FE. If you make music, I hope these tips will help you hone your craft and make it more accessible to the fandom and to the world at large. I've been your host, Arrkay. Thanks for watching.
Hey guys, it's Dr. Rusty here with your test results back. I'm sorry to say you have a very severe culturally apt deficiency. The only way to cure that is by subscribing and consuming culturally apt at least once a week. If you want to inoculate yourself and make sure you don't get it again, you should try getting one of our t-shirts you can get at culturallyapt.com. Sign up to our newsletter for more updates on that. You should also consider supporting us on Patreon. It's a great way not to get this thing happening again. I've been your host, Dr. Rusty, definitely not a doctor. Get effed every night and call me in the morning.